What up? We are here this morning with the one and only Pita of Breaking Games, and I am here. I'm gonna flip it around. The Funks.
Hey, welcome.
We're gonna play that thing. Dwellings of Eldervale. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you did.
Yes! I did it. Look at that box. It's pretty sexy. I mean, if you're into like sexy boxes.
It's temp even. But yeah.
That's a temp sexy box?
That's a temp sexy box.
So it's only gonna get more sexy.
More sexy. Bigger, more saturated, all the colors. Cause
I mean, that's as Kickstarter as it gets when you're like, it's gonna get more sexy than this.
Yeah.
And look, it's got game tray things. And it's got asymmetric tile board situations. And it's gonna have, some of these are temp, but some of these really awesome, gross looking. Look how, that's good size.
That's the Death Reaper.
Look at this one.
That's 70 millimeter. That's the
70 mil.
That's the Demon of Might. AKA the Balrog.
The Balrog, yeah. And then you've got Godzilla, Crocodile over there.
Okay, so Peter is actually about to. I'm playing. Wait, before we get started, I'm playing the Clerics of the Dawn.
Shadow Demons.
Shadow Demons.
The Skyborn Avians.
We are both going to be teaming up on Lizzy so she does not win.
That's right.
What they think.
She's gonna be flying around the board, doing circles around you guys. So that's be fine.
That's probably fine.
I'm
So anyway,
Kickstarter.
Peter's about to dive into the game explanation. So we're gonna put a pin in this that you guys, if you want to come back and see a game explanation, it'll be this video.
Excellent. All right. So Dwellings of Eldervale is a long lost realm. It's ancient magic is there. You're all coming. The portal's open, and you're going in there to get all the power you can. But you're gonna run into crazy monsters along the way, and all the other players who want that power. So it's a worker placement game at its core. You have workers that are actually not just your regular meeples, but you're going to have a warrior, a wizard, and a dragon. Everything's temp, by the way, over here. But these all these workers are going to behave differently, and every realm in Eldervale is a worker placement spot. And this is asynchronous, so you're either going to put a worker on the board or pull everyone back, and then you kind of get out of cycle with the other players that way.
Okay.
So on your turn, when you put a worker on the board, you have a couple of rules. First of all, you have to go somewhere that is unoccupied. So you cannot go, say, where this monster is right now. You can pick anywhere else on the board. Once you've taken a turn like that, your second move cannot be in the same place and must be adjacent to where you've gone. Now you can walk over here. Now the second move, actually, since it's adjacent and doesn't follow that same unoccupied rule, your second move can be where someone else is. There may be a fight, which we'll go over in a minute, but you always get to take the worker placement action, so you're never blocked out of a place. When you take when you pull back, or what we call regroup, you're going to take all of your units one at a time, and you're going to activate worker placement spots. You start with 3, and additionally, you're going to go on adventures and buy more of these spots. And actually, that means that your pullback turn is oftentimes even better than your placement turns. I mean, you get to, if you know, Luke Laura did Manhattan Project Energy Empire, which is all about that chain reaction. And
It's one of my favorite worker placement games. Luke crushed that.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Crushed it. Because you get to just do your whole thing. And that's what happens here too. When you pull back, you have a lot of interesting choices. So let's talk about going out on the board and what the different areas are. So when you step in an elemental realm, which is colored according to certain regions, we've got fire here, we've got darkness, we've got air over here. When you step in one of those, there are these treasure tokens. And you're going to take one of those tokens, and then you're going to keep it on your mat. We'll have game trays. We'll have like 4 spots for treasure tokens. Those are
These are going to be game trays?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Dope.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thumbs up.
I think he's got a prototype of one.
So what you're going to have is something like this.
Look at that. Sexy.
Okay, this is going to keep all of your
Actually,
pieces.
I want to hold this up because the black
This is going to keep all your pieces in there. This is a little snug for this prototype one.
Sure.
And then you've got your dice are all in there, right?
Okay, cool.
Your treasure tokens there, your dwellings, your rooftops are all going to be stored over there, and all your different resources. And your board, say if you're playing the pirates here, this is a water board. It's going to snap in there, and then if we kickstart the way we want to, you'll have another faction on the other side that's also water, and you'll choose which one you want to play. You'll tuck that in, and all of a sudden you got your powers and you got all your units, and you can use that on the table. Yeah.
All right. But for the meantime,
Oh,
I'll get that later.
the clerics are down 1 die.
Derek, go get that for me.
All right.
Nailed it.
So When you go to an elemental realm, you're going to be taking one of these treasure tokens, okay? If there's 2 stacks, you can take either top stack. If a stack has run out, you always get to take something. The realm produces something, okay? So you're going to take one of those, you're going to take it over to your resource board, and you're going to hold on to that. Now, you don't have to cash that in right away. It's like virtual goods. You have 2 tools here at any time you need it as a free action. You also have actual tools that you may use, but so if you need one of these, you could just turn it into 2 tools and then you get the change back. But why you want to hold on to those, I'll explain in a minute. So you can hold up to 4 treasure tokens, and that's what happens when you go to an elemental realm. When you go to one of the brown realms, it's a ruin, and so you've got a lot of cool things you can do. There's a summoning portal. That's where you go if you want to bring more friends into Eldervale. So you go to the portal, and then you pay the cost of that unit. So a dragon will cost you 2 gems and a scroll. So once you've summoned the dragon, it comes to your ready area, and it's now yours for the rest of the game. You don't have to bring him in again. He's now a unit. He's a worker that could do cooler things than your average worker. He has more dice.
And so, and you were telling me this earlier, the bottom layer that we see on the player board is the standard action for those player types, right? So the dragon, my dragon may be placed up to 2 realms away from
That's
one of your
all
units.
dragons have flight.
So all dragons
have flight, which means in the worker placement sense, once I've placed here, you could use your dragon to go 2 away and get there.
Got it.
Then it has another ability. Some of the units have additional abilities based on the faction.
Yeah, and that's where like my glorious demise would come in.
Yeah, your dragon wants to die, or at least wants to go down with a big, huge, glorious fight.
The Loki strategy. I got the Loki strategy. I win. It's broken.
It's pretty fun.
Uh-oh.
Now, actually,
Eric Lang's going to come busting through the door.
Lizzy's, Eric Lang has seen this, and he said that as long as this croc stays in, he's in.
He's in?
He likes
He likes the croc?
For the croc.
That's cool.
So I
But
have.
she has workers.
Yeah. My workers are winged folk, so they can have flight like a dragon.
So she has not just one unit that can go 2 away. She has all 6 workers could go.
You're also playing a Kickstarter stretch goal.
I
So
am.
if you want to play with this, y'all got to do your
You're
work.
gonna see how powerful this
and
is
unlock
and why
this.
you want
Got
this.
it.
Unlock it.
Yeah. The warrior basically brings swords everywhere you go. So.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
And we can put up the art for that too and mix it in.
Yeah.
And Derek's just got bad people to do bad stuff.
Yeah. I'm the evil.
Oh my god, I love the Shadow Demons.
Shadow
you know why?
Demons.
Because the warrior is a death knight.
Yep.
So every time you die, you come back stronger. You're more and more pissed off and buffed out. And then the dragon's really cool too, because the dragon's got Rise from the Shadows, which means every time the dragon goes on the board, you could go get a unit out of the underworld, including that pissed off death knight that's ready. So you can get your units back and flexible and like that. And death, you're not afraid of death with the Shadow Demons.
I like it.
You're actually not afraid of death
I've
with the
embraced
Clerics
it.
of the Dawn either, because their workers have one of the coolest abilities in the game, which is that they don't die. They just appear back in their ready area when they die. So they can't be killed. That's
Wow.
You hear that? You can't kill me. Or at least
Call
my workers.
shenanigans.
There's a lot of fun powers in there. We have 8 different factions, and if we stretch and get them all, that's going to be 16 different player boards with 2 different powers each. So, bunch of stuff to play. Anyway, so let's go back over the ruins. So we talked about the portal. If you go to the fortress, you can take any 2 resources and turn them into gold, and gold is the wild card of the realm. So if you need to have that flexibility, you're going to want to go to the fortress. We have the Mage Tower, where you can take any 2 resources and turn them into magic cards. And I haven't talked about magic cards. They come in 3 flavors. You've got quests, which are, you do a thing during the game, you turn in the quest. Like you vanquish a monster with a single unit, there's a quest for that. You turn that in. You've also got end game points, like prophecies. Those are going to tell you what you're trying to do. Like this one says, get 5 dwellings. If you get 5 dwellings, you're going to get points at the end. And those are secret in your hand. Nobody knows what you're up to. And then you've got spells. So you've got, fireball. All right. You've also got, you've got healing. Now, these are all associated with an element. So this is a fire spell. This is a light spell. But these basic level 0 ones, anybody can cast. So even though Lizzy's playing air, she can throw a fireball down, right? But there's a level 1 spell that's going to have a prerequisite, which says that if anyone wants to cast it, they have to be at level 1 power and fire to do so. And if they are not at level 1 power, they can actually just pay a gem instead. So that you're never blocked out. Like, let's say this game we didn't deal in chaos. You're not blocked out if a chaos spell comes up that costs prerequisites, you can still find the resources to cast that spell. So you're going to have prophecies, quests, and lots of cool spells going on. These are instants, right? You know, like polymorph and lightning bolt and all sorts of fun stuff.
Cool.
So if you want more cards, you go to the Mage Tower. The meat of the game, though, is really in the dungeon and the mill. So let's explain what those are. The dungeon explores the world here, and this is the timer. One of the timers of the game is when this is explored, the game's over. It also lets you go on 1 or 2 adventures. Adventures are the engine building 2.0 is what I'm calling it, the tableau building that Luke put in here, which is that you go get an adventure card, and then you keep it next to your board as a worker placement action every time you pull back. But here's the even cooler part. You can plug in resources that you've gained into these cards. So James goes over here into the Luminous Threshold, pulls it back over here. Every time he pulls a worker back now, he gets a scroll. But if he slots this in right here, he is now getting a gold also every time he pulls back. Here he's getting a gem, but he can actually go out and grab, you know, say this and then plug it in. So now he's getting 2 scrolls.
Nice.
So you have the ability to plug in both inputs and outputs. So you've got some cards that are, let's find an example here. You've got some cards that are like this card is an output. You're gonna spend a spell to get 3 points and whatever you put there. So you could put something awesome right there, right? Some gold. But then you're also gonna have cards that are an input like this, where you're going to spend something to get something in 2 points. Now, you don't want to put a gold here, because now that's really expensive. So what you're going to want to look for is one of these either-or tokens. Now you can either spend a gem or a tool to, say, get a gold and some points.
Nice.
So you can plug these cards however you want, and there's some really cool combos where you can ping off of your other cards, because you can activate these in any order that you want. So how to get more cards is go into the dungeon. All right. Now,
and we'll put a tile out.
And we'll put a tile out, so the world gets bigger, and you get to see more stuff going on. And monsters come out, and more resources come out. Now, the other main tile here, I think, is the dwell, which is the name of the game, right? You want to dwell in Eldervale. You want to live there. You want to set up a little bed and breakfast in the darkness realm. What you do is you go there with a worker. One person's got to be standing on the realm that you want to live in. The other one's got to go to the mill somehow, right? So Lizzy could fly over there. And then she's got to pay the resource cost to live there. And then you'll pay the 2 tools, and then she'll take one of her little rooftops here and basically put it right on. And now that worker is gone. But what she's traded that for is elemental power. First, you gain darkness, and then you cackle evilly, and then you get combat power, and at the end of the game, you're going to get more points as well. So she's given up a worker, though. That's one of the consequences. So you have to choose the right time to settle down in Eldervale, pick your spots, go for the big.
Where does the elemental power? Where are we tracking?
So we're all tracking that right here. And at the start of the game, you have power in the element that you chose. So Lizzy has 1 in
darkness,
1 in air, you have 1 in darkness, and you have 1 in light. Now you have 3 other options. You have 3 other ways that you can go up another track. So you can, even though you started in light, James, you can actually go, once you settle in a darkness realm, you'll actually enter darkness here. And if you buy a darkness card, you'll go up in darkness as well. So
do you have to be on the track first before you move
don't.
up? No. So anytime you get a card, you're going to move up.
Anytime you get a card, you're going up one of these tracks. Anytime you dwell in one of these areas, and some of them are double, or they're just really powerful, and if you dwell there, you're going to go up 2
Got it.
in that realm. So you're racing up these because this is a multiplier, a little bit like Concordia, that's going to amplify your whole thing.
Okay.
So all your air cards, if you get up to the top, are 5 points. And if you have a whole bunch of them, it's like 5, 10, 15, 20. You get a ton of points. Additionally, whoever gets to the top gets the orb, which is this awesome magical energy, which has
it's all about the orbs.
3 cool uses. One is you've got these free actions that you can take, blocks up the action. Nobody else can take it. So I can get points, or I can get cards, or I can get emergency tools that I need for a purchase, right? The other thing you can do with an orb are there are certain cards in there like necromancy where that thing is so powerful. That's taking over a monster that's died as your own. You're going to need an orb on that or it's not going to work. And then the last thing you can do is that anything that needs an input, you can put an orb in there to make that a null input. So worker can go there without having to spend anything at all, which is for those engine builders out there, that's the juice right there. So a couple awesome things to do with orbs, and you can win orbs with fighting also, which is a good segue into the fact that this is a dice-driven combat game where you have a lot of skirmishes that might frighten some people. But it really has options of you can control how much you want to mix in there, and you're never blocked out of a space, and you have ways of mitigating those dice rolls. But how combat works is really simple. You put a worker somewhere. Let's say this monster comes in and try and fight me. Well, all the workers roll 1 die, and the warrior rolls 2, and the wizard rolls 1, and the dragon rolls 3. You're looking for 6 high. You're looking for the single highest dice result. So even though the monster is rolling, say, like 4, and I'm only rolling 1, I could still win this. Basically, if the monster gets 5, 3, 3, 1, and Lizzy rolls just 1 6, she's taking down the monster that day. Okay. Now, if the monster had rolled a 6, that 6 would be compared, and then you go to the next die. The monster has a 3, and Lizzy has nothing. Or maybe Lizzy had gotten another one, so she basically takes it down on the second die.
Nice.
The losers go to the underworld where they get a sword because they're pissed off. They're going to come back to you when you regroup, but they're not going to get to activate any tableau actions. So that's the penalty for going in there. But you'll get them back. And then the winner goes up on this glory track, which initially you're going to get points, then you're going to get free stuff, then you're going to get power, and then just some orbs in there. Ooh. So you're going to want to mix it up and try and, there's some tactical cool things you can do, because what I didn't explain is that whenever a fight breaks out, everybody who's adjacent, a la Blood Rage style, can come in and join that fight. So if you really wanted to go here again, you could actually tactically move in there, even though you know it's going to lose, just so that you could get back in that realm again. You can also bank on some of those swords, because there's cards that cost swords and so forth. So you can join a fight, even if it wasn't your fight to begin with, and everybody who spends swords adds dice to the combat. So you can, if you've lost a bunch, just chuck some swords into the next one and try and get that battle victory. So we've got battle. The monsters are going to come out. They've all got unique powers. When they come out, we'll put the card nearby and we'll explain what they do. But that's it. You guys are going to dwell.
Game end?
Game ends 2 ways. One, it's triggered by all of the realms are explored, and then we end it and tally the scores.
Explored being just open.
Yeah, like once someone takes the last one, that triggers the end. Everybody
so do we
takes
finish
one
that
more
round?
turn,
Okay.
and including the person who triggered it, actually.
Okay.
And then the other trigger is that somebody puts all 6 of their dwellings on the board. So you go dwell crazy, and you get out there.
Dwell crazy.
You live all over the place.
Did you just rename the game? It's Dwell Crazy.
Dwell crazy right now.
Luke's gonna love it.
If you dwell first and get those out there, you can also trigger the end of the game. And I've seen some people do that kind of aggressive dwell strategy.
Aggressive dwell strategy.
Aggressive dwelling. I'm gonna dwell so hard right now.
You know it hit you.
Oh man.
Okay, Care Bears, that was the rundown on the game. You're going to see updates from Derek, updates from Lizzy, and updates from myself throughout the day. We're going to probably break out and talk about strategies, things that we're trying to do during the game. And then we will have a live stream at 2 o'clock Pacific this afternoon. And we're going to just have a kind of a round table about our experience with the game. So pay attention. Stay tuned. We have more things. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey everybody, it's Derek with the Board Game Spotlight. We're popping in for our live video number 2. James was live earlier talking about the rules overview for Dwellings of Eldervale, and now I'm going to drop in on my turn. I'm going to show you what regrouping is like and why that is such a fun mechanism inside Dwellings of Eldervale. So let's go ahead and go to the table. All right, so I've exhausted all of my ready workers. They are currently on the board.
Kicking it.
All right, they're doing their thing. I have my dragon on the board now, which is pretty dope. But I'm gonna have to regroup and gain my workers back to use them on the next turn. So I have a number of actions that I have available to me, and additionally, when you go on adventures, you get more spots that allow you to take more actions when you regroup, which is really cool. So you've got this engine building Tableau 2.0 situation going on. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in here. I'm going to regroup using this worker, and I'm going to drop it down into this action,
I thought he was going to dwell right there.
which is going to, well, I can't dwell because I don't have, oh, I could dwell.
Yeah,
Oh, check this out,
you
check
don't have
this
any
out.
tools, right?
I do have tools.
But
I have a treasure I can turn in for 2 tools.
But you also could take a worker and go get tools.
Exactly.
With your
So
board.
I'm going to take this worker. I'm going to drop it down into this action, which is going to give me 2 tools right here to my resources. Now, I'm going to take this worker off the board, drop it into the dwell action, spending the 2 tools I need to dwell with that worker. Essentially, that's going to lock in that resource tile for me as in-game points. And actually, I get points now, right?
You score 2 points for every nearby ruin, so 2, 4, and then 2 points for Lizzy's dwelling as
So
well.
6.
6 points.
So look at that. We're trying to catch up to Lizzy here.
He also goes up on the darkness track because he built.
He just dwelled in the land of darkness, so that gives you more power.
So I am inching my way up here on the darkness track there, and I still have the dragon. Now, can this activate a worker
It's
spot?
absolutely a worker. It's just an advanced worker, so it can activate all your worker.
So check this out. Let's go ahead and drop in on Death's Door. I'm going to gain a potion and a coin. Coins are extremely important because they are used as a wild resource. So that is going to go here into my tableau, and that is
all your workers from there. Just go right back into ready, and you're set.
I'm set for the next round.
That guy who's living there.
But here's the thing, so when you dwell, which is part of the strategy because that's towards the end of the game, if someone does all 6, right? Well, the thing is, you lose your workers. So it's a trade-off between points and trying to win the game, but also you're going to lose workers, which is going to slow down your progress. So it's a really cool trade-off. So anyways, is how you regroup in Dwellings of Eldervale. We will be back with you live shortly, probably, with Lizzy. Doing something. All right. See everybody. Thanks for dropping in.
I don't know.
Gotta crush.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Derek and Lizzy back here. We are going to fight, well, I guess I am going to fight the Demon of Might.
I will be acting as the demon.
So what happened was, last round, James had a fight over here, where he brought all of his people in, and Lizzy and I both decided to go in there. I lost all of...
You both got wrecked.
We did, but James inadvertently helped me, but he helped himself more.
And just so I make sure, because I have this cool card over here. I want to show this card off. Where'd it go?
Calculations.
Yeah, I had to fuel it with an orb, but once per turn, I get to set one of my die to a face of my choosing.
And getting that orb was not easy. So you worked to get that.
And I had to max out my light to get that.
Yeah. But that's a really strong section.
To where we're at.
Yeah, so basically my warrior is a Death Knight, and I get on my first placement, if I have been removed from the board, I can place this Death Knight in an occupied location, which is exactly where the Demon of Might is located. So
I'm looking for a fight.
I'm looking for a fight. I'm coming because look at this. My freaking dragon is in the underworld, so I'm pretty mad right now. Lizzy's gonna roll for the demon.
All 5 of his
5 dice. I roll 2 for the Death Knight. I'm going to spend 2 swords to roll another. Unfortunately, my dwelling, if it was adjacent, I would... Actually, that's a good question. If I went here, would he rush in?
Oh, absolutely he would.
So
yeah.
if I went here...
First of all, you're also going to get a token for that area.
Yeah. Check this out. This is actually even better. And then he moves in here, which rushes at the end of my turn, which gives me that +1 die because I'm next to my dwelling.
Just mention 2 swords.
Okay, cool.
You're still going to die, clown.
5 on 5.
5 on 5. All right, here we go.
Oh, we're looking for 6 high. We're looking for the
I
highest.
got
single
double
result.
5s.
5 beats.
I beat him. So these cancel out. Whoops. So the 5s cancel, and then the next highest goes against. And woo!
Took down a fire demon.
That's what I'm talking about. So here's what happens.
Way too excited right
I
now.
know.
I can
You
either...
can either gain glory, which is a free resource of your choice. Gold usually is what people pick. Or, because it's the fire demon, you could soak up its elemental energy and go up and fire. Would you like glory or firepower?
Give me that glory.
All right, he's going for
I'm gonna take a wild.
gold.
I'm gonna take a gold piece here as my
Nice job.
Winnings.
Now, he could come back if somebody summons him from the dead, but he's out. He's out for right now.
Bye.
Fire demon.
Bye bye. Thanks for the fight.
Okay.
We've wrecked. We still got the, what is this guy?
That's the living storm.
Yeah,
This is
the
a
living
proxy.
storm.
Living Storm.
It's not
So
what he
we
looks
actually
like.
lost. Lizzy and I lost it a couple rounds
Yeah,
ago.
we did.
When this moves into an area, it sucks in all the
Adjacent.
workers
Anything.
adjacent. Yeah, anything gets sucked into there and it fights it. It's pretty intense.
We're getting pretty close to the end here. So
Yes, we are.
bloop. See you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
What's up, everybody?
It's scoring time.
Yeah.
Time to figure out who won.
So, all right. So right now, before we start, and Peter's going to explain scoring.
Yes.
Yeah.
But right now, we're currently at.
We've got the
look,
clerics
I'm in
have
last.
24
No surprise.
points, and the Skyborn Avians have 23, and then the Shadow Demons have.
So that's me. I'm in first.
Mm-hmm.
So who? Like before we don't really know exactly who do we think is going to win here.
There is
Not
some.
me.
James,
You don't feel good about it?
No.
No.
I don't have any. I'm done. I have no way. I don't have any prophecy cards. I did not complete any quests. So that is what I have. 19
I'm
points.
gonna flip this around.
So
You have a little bit more than me,
I
but
crushed them.
I do have some stuff here.
They
on
are
the-
punks. I destroyed them. I
cheated hard.
Now I have no idea. Like we haven't scored this. I don't even. Peter is going to explain scoring, but I feel like I won.
what Peter forgot to mention is actually golf scoring, and it's a low score, so I win.
That's a crappy dad joke. All right, Peter, take it away.
First, you score elemental power, right? So starting with who started this game, right? Was it Derek?
Yeah, I
Okay,
started.
so we'll start with you. So you have 5. You have all the way. You got all the way in darkness. So that's
Correct.
5 points, and you got pretty far in fire.
So I have.
So we're doing just this track first.
Oh, just that.
Let him explain.
So we're doing. You got
Dude.
5 and 4. So you're getting 9 points. All right. So we're going to 28. Okay, and then that you're just on 2 tracks. So we're going to Lizzy, who's also on 2 tracks. Maxed out in air and got a little bit in fire. So that's a 5 and a 3. That's 8 points. So
Okay.
23, 31. Now James is at the top of 2 tracks. So you guys all went into 2 tracks, and James
You got
got
to the top, yeah.
5 and 5, so 10 points.
You went hard on those adventure cards.
Once we've done the power tracks as it stands, we then use this as a multiplier for the dwellings. So we'll go to Derek, who has a darkness dwelling,
Yep.
which is 5, and 2 fire dwellings, which is 8. So that's 13 on your dwellings. It's 28, 38.
Pretty nice.
3.
Okay, I did a
We
little
got
better.
Lizzy, who's got 2 dwellings in her natural element of air, so that's 10, plus another for a fire dwelling, so that's also 13 points.
Nice.
41. I didn't realize this.
3. So then James has 2 dwellings, and each one of them is a 5-pointer because he maxed out in those 2 tracks,
Yep,
light
so
and order.
you
So that's
accidentally
another 10
scored.
points.
I accidentally scored those 10 points. I had no idea that I was scoring those points.
Now we go to cards, and right now with this temp prototype, your player board is also a card.
Okay.
So
That's neat. Okay.
So you have for you've
4.
got 4 darkness cards, which are 5 each. So that's 20 points plus a fire card, which is 4. So 24 points for Derek is
65.
All right, and then Lizzy has got 1 air card. She had another one, but
I was a jerk and I made her get rid of it.
Destroyed it.
I destroyed it.
Rude.
So you get 5 points for that. All right. And then
I actually
James
beat
over
Lizzy.
here has a bunch of cards.
What?
One of the
Wait,
secrets
let me
here.
pull this one out. I want to make sure we don't lose any because there's a card under there
Your light
too.
cards are actually
Dominate!
5.
Those are really good.
5 each. So we've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25,
25,
30, 35, 40 because you also maxed out.
80.
You can't see I'm dancing. I'm dancing behind this.
That's how you
Yeah.
Do you know how often I win games?
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Like
Yeah.
almost never.
You
James
also
is
okay. So
flossing
we've
right now.
done power, we've done dwellings, we've done adventure cards. We're also now going to do vault, which is a special kind of. It's going to be a Kickstarter goal here. This one James gives him points if he had slotted gold here, or if he has gold on his board.
Oh, I do.
So you're getting 2
Oh, so you can actually
each.
bank. That's so cool.
Yeah, I got 6 points there.
After we're done with vaults, we move on to prophecies. Starting with Derek, do you have any prophecies?
I am not a prophet.
You're out. Okay, you go to Lizzy. What do you
So I
got?
have this one. So this one straight counts as a card, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I get 2 points.
You 2 points on that one.
Woo.
Oh, should I have been doing quests during the game?
Yes.
Whoopsie.
So quests would happen if you trigger it during the game.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that.
Yeah.
So that was.
That's just another thing you can try.
Here's I don't know.
Okay,
tell me if I
prophecy,
did that.
which is city on a hill at the end of the game. It's 4 points for every dwelling that is not adjacent to a ruin. This one is adjacent to a ruin, but that one is not. So you're gonna get another 4 points for that one.
More accidental points.
And I think I've got like. No, I knew that.
Oh, you knew that
I
one.
knew that. I'm just saying I didn't cash in any of these quests. I had 3 quests in my hand. I've got another 7 to 10 points.
Wow,
what you
nailed
got.
it.
Yeah.
So let's see, James. To complete this, must roll a 6 in battle. You did
I
roll a
did
6 in
multiple
battle.
times.
Yeah.
Complete this quest, you must win a battle against a monster. You
I
did beat a
did that
monster.
as well.
To complete this quest, you must have 2 tools in your supply Don't know if you had that one, but you may have.
I think I had that during the game.
So you would gain 1 for each.
You had to cash that. It was a weird one. You had to cash it in at a certain
Mm-hmm.
time, so you're like, I'm going to build up my
It's
tools,
the timing
and then I'm going to
thing.
cash it in.
Right.
It was like my bulky one where I got
Forget the tools one, but let's.
So-
for my
You got 7
final score,
points.
give me the 7 because I did those
Yeah,
things.
he did those things.
So here we go. That would be 101.
So you broke the score.
And the Shadow Demons will be back for revenge with 65, and same for the Skyborn Aliens 51. They will see another day.
We're going to get our revenge, but
We're gonna go eat, and then we're gonna come back
we're going to
hungry
discuss
for a
this.
win.
I think Lizzie's going to make us play it again before the live stream at 2. Like,
No.
I think she enjoyed it.
no, I think she
No,
wants her
I'm ready.
Oh,
revenge.
you want your revenge right now?
No. It's
Yeah,
okay.
she does.
No. Let
can
me
feel the hate
plot
steaming.
more.
She needs to scheme.
More scheming.
Nicely done. You certainly you got the hang of the tableau
Well,
building.
they also let me. Like I hung out on this
Yeah,
side. of the
he
board.
kinda
We'll do
did.
the breakdown
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
But we should leave this set up too, so
Oh,
that
for
we
sure.
could talk about
Yeah, yeah.
the in game part
Absolutely.
at the end. But that was scoring, and I won. So this is the best game ever.
Heard it here first.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Board Game Spotlight. Today we are live at the Breaking Games studio in California with Peter Vaughn.
Hey,
Yep, Derek and James are here as well.
Hey,
and
Joel.
we have not just finished. We've had time to meditate on the game of the Dwellings of Eldervale that we just finished. And we're going to talk about it, things we loved, what's so unique about this game. So why don't we start with Derek?
Okay, yeah, so Dwellings of Eldervale.
you were the Shadow Demons.
I was the Shadow Demons, and unfortunately, I don't feel like I played the Shadow Demons to kind of how they wanted to be played. I didn't do that well. I could have done a lot
You got
better.
your Death Knight out kind of late.
I
You're
did.
Like, we need a Death Knight in here.
It was at that point I was already getting my butt kicked, and so I really needed. At that point they were like, "Hail Mary, let's get the Death Knight in there." But unfortunately, the Death Knight never went to the Underworld, so he didn't really get powered up as much as he could have. And so one of the things that I absolutely enjoyed about this was exploring my faction, right?
Cool.
Yes.
And just the asymmetry between each of the players and what you have available to you was really cool. For me, the thing that I loved was, in a lot of games, you'll play where you take your turns, and especially in a worker placement game, when you're out of workers, you have to take a turn to rest.
The boring pullback turn.
Yeah, the bowling.
I'm
not
not
doing
going to
that.
get
We're not
anything
doing that in this
done.
game.
Okay, so one of the things that's really unique about this is that exact thing. When you regroup, or when you return your workers from the board to ready them, you get to take a turn, right?
You're using them as the workers that they are, and you're still placing them.
Yeah, you have 3 basic actions that you can assign those workers to, and then as the game goes on, you will adventure to find more cards to place into your tableau, which then are new worker places.
Yeah, it gets really addictive. Because I just want to get all those cards and just do all that. And you find out that you actually, you have not as many workers as you think sometimes.
Yeah.
But Luke, who did Manhattan Project Energy Empire, so if you guys have played that one you can activate all your cards. It's got that whole Terraforming Mars vibe where you just get that chain reaction. That's what we want to do here. Luke is a big fan of that, and I think he's been trying to squash crappy worker placement turns ever since he's been in the design space. You know what I mean? And just like kill those. In fact, it's better to pull back now. So you can. It's asynchronous, so you can go out there and pull back really quickly if you've got a good engine.
That was actually part of my strategy. I had a card that the Luminous Threshold.
Yeah.
That it was just a standard, like where when you pull back, you can place it on this card as an extra space. But then I put an aura, a radiant aura on it, which allowed me, every time I did it, it gave me 2 bonus points. And so, like, I had some resources that I wanted. I'd put a dude out, I'd take a turn, and I'd pull it back and put it on this. And, like, I wasn't putting out 4 or 5 people. I was putting out 1 or 2, getting into a fight, and then just pulling back so I could get this tiny. It was a really small engine that I got going, but it works well.
One of the most fun times I've had developing this is that I would be testing one of those engines that felt really greedy. Like, should I be able to get this many points? And then Luke would say, as long as you haven't gotten more than, say, I forget what the number was, like 16 points on a card. I was like, oh, so basically what you're saying is there's a lot of OP stuff that can happen, and that's all okay.
Well, nothing's OP and everything's OP.
Right. Well, I mean, the balance there is that players have the ability to utilize those strategies as they see fit. Like, so basically, when you want to go to the dungeon is a tile that's going to allow you to not only explore the world of Eldervale, but also go on adventures. And when you go on adventures, you're going to be able to dive down into one of these game trays. Right?
We do have
game trays from
at launch.
So Mike was asking, are the game trays are they going to be an add-on? Are they part of what pledge level do they come into?
They come in every single pledge level.
So the retail, the deluxe, whatever,
the whole thing.
Just,
the reason for that is because this game obviously has a lot of pieces and it has 8 elemental realms. If I have to put away 8 elemental realms and all the resources, it wears on you. So what I want to make sure is that you have this ready to start, ready to put away, easy to put away.
Yeah.
So I've always loved the game trays. I mean,
Sure.
I like it in Grim Forest. I like it in Vindication. I like it in Endeavor. Noah, if you're out there listening to this, you're rocking it, man.
You're rocking it.
You're
Endorsement
rocking it.
for
and
Noah.
Bryce. Noah,
Yes. Oh my
Bryce,
God, Bryce is 100% on the team.
He's doubled himself.
And basically, those guys are like intense and really want to make this game fit. So we have this is a prototype, but like the character trays, you're going to be able to have your piece of art right there. Everything. So you grab the blue, you grab the yellow, you want to play a certain color, and then everything's in there right from the get-go. That's really important to just I don't want baggies. I don't want all this loose stuff. I want this clean. I'm going to play Earth today. I'm going to pop that sucker open.
So Peter, I'm noticing this says Pirates of Nightmare Cove, but I flipped this over and there's another completely asymmetric. What's going on here?
Well, that would be some of our Kickstarter stretch goals.
So this is a spoiler?
Yeah, it is.
You shouldn't know about this. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think that the idea that we have just one-sided board is just going to make everyone go, well, what if? So like you play some of the starting factions are ogres, elves, dwarves, clerics, shadow demons, rattlings of the swarm. What else we got? We got
Shadow demons. Shadow demons.
No, I got them.
Yep.
Also the
the fire.
The air was the storm horde.
Yeah.
And then look at the order. So basically, there's 8 of them, and you got a good flavor with say the ogres, right? The ogres come in swinging. They've got awesome battle right from the get go. And what we really want to do is, if we get lucky enough to do this, we're going to flip that side over. So if you're picking red, you could play goblins on the other side, and the goblins have a fire witch, and it's awesome.
One of the things that I picked up pretty quickly from our play is a lot of times when you have multiple this many asymmetric kind of combinations, it's like going to eat Mexican food. It's like a burrito and then you got a chimichanga. It's just still a burrito that is deep fried it. Like it's just one variation away.
It's true.
And obviously we only saw 3 things, but then flipping them over and reading how the other side would be a good bit different than what I was playing, I was excited to really delve into this. And then the way that the adventures come out, mixed with the tiles. I mean, the board, like there was 4 or 3? There was 3 that we didn't even see.
Yeah.
Like 3 tile types that we didn't see with adventures and mechanisms. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I think I could play this 16 times if all the stretch goals were unlocked, right?
Yeah.
And there's 16 different factions.
Each one which has 2 powers each.
Right.
So we're talking 32.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. So that's just like insane. Like instantly I can already see, like, I want to play it again right now. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
when we
I was
we're
setting
going
up
to
to
write
play
that
again.
quote right on the Kickstarter. I want to play it again right now.
and when we got back from lunch, Lizzy was even ready, like
I was
putting out the
resetting up
tiles.
because I was like, I did so poorly. I need to redeem myself. I have a plan now.
all right. So, and this is dumb. And can this be a world reveal right now?
Yeah.
Is this okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because this
Take it up
literally just came in.
It
right?
did. We just got some minis.
So this is the Living Storm card, and this is the mini for it.
I mean,
And I don't know if
Bring it down a little
we
bit.
don't have a box of diapers for scale here, but
Should have brought one.
Let me grab a meeple for scale. How about
it's,
that?
yeah, put the meeple beside it. That's stupid.
the Living Storm sucks
it's
all
so
the other
fun.
units. So its power is
super
when you
fun
put it
when
down, it
it's on the
sucks
board.
everything into its space.
Everything
and
next
wrecks
to it just
mean,
has
it's
to
on
fight.
top.
Even if you
does.
don't want to fight, it just pulls
You have
everything
no
in.
choice.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Awesome.
it's
Peter, will this be at Origins for people to play?
Absolutely. We're in booth 853. We have an entire dedicated booth to Dwellings of Eldervale.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
super excited.
feeding questions as they
yeah,
come.
no, that's a great question.
We are going to feature it there.
Lizzy, what did
Yeah.
you like about it?
I love the dwellings. So obviously dwelling of Eldervale, that is a huge part of it. So when you put your worker out there, you can do a dwell action. So there's one on everyone's player board and there's one ruin on the board that lets you do it. When you do that, you are losing a meeple, but instead of having to take that meeple off and, put it to the side or something, you're adding a roof on top of it, which is super cool. So it makes the roof higher, makes it easy to see on the board, and you're utilizing that meeple in a new way. So the meeple's not going to come off the board.
That's some dangerous Eldervale.
That's
right?
very
This is scary right here.
That would not be fun game to start out with all those.
Well, the clerics of the dawn aren't scared of the monsters.
Yeah, so James was playing as the clerics of the dawn, and essentially when he lost a battle, he didn't die. He just came back angry and really
with more weapons.
Not happy about it. But I agree with Lizzy. The dwellings, having them raised up, showing that that's been locked in because it's an area control.
Yeah, it is a little bit.
You've locked that in for your own scoring. You've lost a worker to place on the board, but also having those dwellings boost your combat.
Yeah.
That was neat. And actually, when James realized that, I don't think he didn't really notice that. He's like, why am I getting this extra dice? Oh, because I'm right next to my dwelling.
So if I got sucked in to fight this whirlwind guy,
you would actually,
had a meeple there,
you would get
I would get
2
one dice for the guy, the regular guy, and then I would get 1 for each of these because they're both adjacent to the monster. So right off the bat, I have 3 dice to go up against him. I can always spend swords to do more. If I had another person, I could pull him in as well.
Yeah.
But that's really...
That transitions to something I think that a lot of people are going to be like, it's got combat, but it's also worker placement. One of the things that, and this is something I look out for too, because not necessarily because I care, but I do play with people who do care.
Yeah.
And so I know that I'll have a hard time convincing other people to play if there's confrontation in a Euro game.
Yeah.
But the way that the dice system works is so very simple and straightforward. And it doesn't necessarily really mess up your engine, right?
No.
Yeah. So that, I see it typically when this bothers people, it's like a tableau building and you get something taken away. Now there are a few cards in here that can mess with other people's tableaus, but they are few and far between.
Yeah, we've also come up with a lot of ways to sort of mitigate those. We've got ways that we're going to launch with that we're going to have like a 2v2 mode, and we're going to have some other tokens that like...
But Peter, I like punching people in
but
the
like,
face.
if you like it, it's in there. And the thing that I think is there's this opportunity cost. Like you can decide if you want to go... we're not blocking you out of any worker placement, so you always get to take the action. But if you go somewhere where you know it's going to be a fight, you are then saying that it's worth it to me to go get this token. I need this token,
right?
And I'm going to take the hit. Maybe I win, maybe I don't win. But if you go to the underworld, which is what happens when you lose, that worker's not gone forever. In fact, you get swords which are useful for other things.
Right.
And one of the things I really like tactically is that you can't place where you already have a meeple. And so if I go here and I reveal this juicy token, and I'm like, well, actually, I'd love to step back on that space, but I can't. And you go over here and you start a fight with me, I can actually deliberately go over to fight you so that I can walk back to where I was, which is really, to me, it's like, if I lose this fight, it was worth it because I opened this back up for myself.
So I knew I felt like, I didn't know anything. I felt like I had a lead. And I did that 4 or 5 times. I would pull people out of the dungeon to fight, and then I would move back into the dungeon to pull the tiles out because the tiles are the timer. Yeah. And that worked. It worked well.
Yeah, it did. And one of the things too, even with the combat, even with the confrontation, nothing in the game felt like I was ever at a disadvantage. Like I was always progressing my own strategy. And one of the things that I liked about being able to go to a worker spot, it was never blocked off unless I blocked it for myself, because you can't go to a space if you've already been there. Yep. But it allowed me to long range plan strategically, not tactically. I wasn't responding to the board. I was, okay, I know I can go over there and get that potion. Then I can combo that to grab that scroll and then eventually land in the dwell. I then dwell to land. It was so good to be able to long range plan as a Euro game.
Cool. Pro tip, if you've got somebody in your group that hates confrontation and they always roll bad, like, you know who you are.
Totally happens.
You roll 6s sometimes, but you don't complain.
There's people who say, don't shout out numbers while I'm rolling because you know it's going to happen. I'm going to roll bad.
So if you have that person in your group or you are that person, A, self-awareness is key. 2, clerics of the dawn. Run with them, right? Because when you lose a battle with your workers, which is the majority of the people that you're going to be battling with,
workers.
Maybe let's say 50%.
More workers than anything else.
More workers than anything else.
2/3,
it's kind of an advantage for them to die. Like you want them, they're the Loki-ish strategy. Like you really want to go in and cause a lot of fights, and if you die, you're okay with that because you come back with a sword.
Pop right back alive.
You pop back with a sword.
Suddenly you're back.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of factions that can do, like, if you there's someone who more of a casual gamer, and she played this game. She's like, I like it, but I don't ever want to be one of those punching factions. So if I play again, like there's factions where you can kind of do more engine building and more like comboing and stuff like that, and then there's the ogres, which are like the workers are just rolling 2 dice. It's kind of like the most simplest thing ever. It's just like I'm gonna add dice all the time.
Punching face.
I dig it.
Yeah.
We had a question about the minis. Are they going to match their faction colors, or are they going to be gray? What is the plan for the minis?
So what I really want, because I'm not a minis painter. Like I have games with minis in them, and they're all still gray. And like the game that'll probably get me to do it is either this game or like Imperial Assault, where I want to paint the Stormtroopers finally. But but what I'm thinking is, so if I'm not a minis painter and I get a bunch of minis, what I'd really like to stretch and get to on the Kickstarter is like each one is in their color. So this is the air one, and this is the fire one, and that's the earth one. So the earth one will be all green, just a solid green. You could add to it if you want. So what we're going to probably do is launch gray. Hopefully we get there and get everybody that, because that would be, to me, really exciting if I didn't have to paint it. But on top of that, if you do want to paint it, we're partnering up with Brian Merlongi, who's going to show us how to paint these.
That's awesome.
Because I don't know what I'm doing, and I want him to...
Brian's awesome.
So Brian's going to do a show where he's going to show you how to paint the demon. He's going to show you how to paint the croc, the dread crocodile.
As someone that just recently started to paint, I mean, it was a couple years ago, but I really looked at those painting guides like Sarastro and people who could show you step by step, because I had no idea what I was doing. And being colorblind puts me at a severe disadvantage.
I saw your Gotham Hulk guys.
Hulk
but that's awesome to be able to do a step-by-step painting guide.
One thing that, and I don't enjoy painting. I don't get any enjoyment out of it. I've tried. But I do like my minis to look good. If they do get to where they're individually colored, I'm all about the wash. Yeah. And if they've already got the color and you can just hit them with a wash, it gives so much texture to it. Then for me personally, I'm totally happy with that level. Even at that point, you could base them, even if they were all gray. You could base them in their elemental color and then put a wash on them, and they'd be done. That'd be great.
That's what we're going to be looking to on the campaign for.
But Peter, that really does bring up the cost. Like that's not a fake stretch goal.
No, that's serious.
Like we did that on Guardian's Call, and I was very surprised at how much cost it was to paint the 5 minis different colors.
I know. I personally went into it thinking like, why are they always gray? Why? Well, it's a reason.
There's a reason.
It's expensive. But for this game, which is all about elemental colors, I would love it if we could get there, because everything you play for light is all the yellow and everything. So I would love to look across and be like, oh, there's the chaos guy. Just show it at me.
Yeah.
So if we could do that, that'd be great. If not, I definitely think that we're at least going to bring the noise on the height, because I want Blood Rage size, like, the 15 millimeter, decent things. They're looming over the other pieces. Everyone's dragon, custom dragon, is going to be about like half the size. So your dragon is serious. It's rolling 3 dice, but it is going to run into some of these.
Now, is the dragon going to be like a wooden meeple dragon?
Yes,
or is it going to be
a wooden meeple? We're
so all of these are going to be wooden.
Yeah. Nice.
Okay.
I
think a little bit of mix then.
I think there's this. I don't know what to. I think we've been calling it transatlantic, where it's like kind of crossing 2 different. Like we've got the Euro style, we've got the American style, and for those who like the the crunchy, the victory point earning ones, the wood feels like this classic thing. I love custom shapes. We did it in Rise of Tribes. Want to do it here, but with the minis, it has this fun dynamic of
this embodies to me what a hybrid board game of today is. You take a Euro and then you throw it with a Amerithrash. You put it on the table. I mean, when you start incorporating the wooden components with plastic, that really marries the game. Just like we were talking, Vindication did that. They have their wooden parts, and then they've got these epic plastic minis.
Yeah, the other thing that I wanted to make sure too, and Luke, who was working on it the whole time, was thinking this is, let's not make minis for the sake of making minis. I would hate to do that. I wouldn't put the cost in here if they were going to do that. But every single one of these creatures has a power and is guaranteed to come out if the element's in. So and if we can unlock some more, you'll be able to choose A or B when you choose what one you want to come out. And so that makes this fire demon real serious, is gonna come out, gonna have an impact on the game. Tactically, he actually attacks dwellings, so now if he comes out late game, that could be a big problem for you if you've got a bunch of dwellings and you're like, oh man, I don't need that right now. I don't need that guy. He's not just a unit that's fighting. He's got some impact on the game, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that lends itself to the Euro side, what we talked about. Like, that mini's going to come out. It's not like, oh, you may see that mini. It's like, no, we're playing with fire. We're playing with wind, earth, water. That miniature, it's going to come out. Just depends when.
Yeah. So the ancients of Eldervale awakened.
Don't let people get the calculation card because they'll wreck you in combat. That was another strategic thing that I think we didn't realize until probably mid or late game.
Yeah.
Was that sometimes when you go to the dungeon and you want to pull out a map tile and you're going to buy an adventure card, if you can't afford to, or maybe even if you can, there may be a card that you want to burn just because you do not want someone else to have if you can't get it yourself. And the calculation card was really good. Now it's really expensive to power. I had to have an orb.
So what that does is it allows you to actually set a die every turn to a face of your choice.
Right.
Which is awesome. I want to tell you a story about how I took someone down with that power. Because I was really worried about that card. Right? So there's this guy, he was playing one of our stretch factions. It's going to be centaurs. And one of the centaurs' powers that their warrior can set a die.
Okay.
So they just come out of the gate with that power. Okay. So imagine that centaur gets that card and could set 2 dice. Now they had the other players freaking out and scared. And I was like, I'm not scared of this. I'm going to go in. I had like a lightning bolt. I had my plan. So I went in and I took him down, and his confidence, like he thought he was going to, I could set dice, so I got this.
Right.
And once I struck that one blow, the rest of the players had this confidence, like, oh, he's fallible. There's a way, there's a kink in the armor. So I love that there's those cards that make you feel like this should be broke. Like, I can't be doing this, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I even, because there's sometimes I wanted to die, I was like, I'm going to set this to a 1.
It's true.
I'm going to set it to a 1 because I want to lose. It's actually part of my plan. I wanted it to come back because I needed some swords to buy one of the cards on the next turn.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really hope I lose this one.
Or even like losing lets you reset your board. Maybe that was your last worker on there. Now, because when you're off the board, you can come in anywhere you want. So it completely changes your strategy in that point.
I love the fact that the Death Knight actually wants to take a couple hits.
Yeah. The Death Knight
and
you
my
get
dragon.
stronger
if you keep going to the Underworld.
So as any good Euro game does, any good worker placement, I feel like there's so many combinations of strategies here that you want to explore. That's like that yearning, like I really want to get back and play the game again because I want to explore the Sky Kingdom, whatever, and I really want to start. And this time I don't want to go heavy on the cards. I want to put out a bunch of dwellings, and you're gonna want to really explore that. And it gives games like this so much value. I really didn't know. Like I've seen Peter like pounding this thing out there into the world over the last few months.
That's right. But do it. 30 days to go, everybody.
I haven't been able to play it, right? Like I haven't been able to really research it much. So I came in today really kind of blind to even what the game was, other than I knew it had worker placement and it had minis, which I was like, cool.
Yeah.
And then so actually playing it now, this is probably going to get the James Hudson hype train stamp of approval.
100%. Lizzy, what do you think about What do you think about the spells?
You mean the magic?
Or the magic cards. I'm sorry.
Well, there's 3 flavors.
Yeah, there are 3
First
flavors.
of all, you got to get the terminology right.
The magic cards.
The magic cards. They're awesome because not only do they act as magic cards, they have prophecies, they have the spells, they have the
quests
that you can do throughout the game. They also act as a resource. So if you need to turn into things to get something, you can use them as a resource. If you have something in your hand that you're like, well, I'm definitely not going to finish that quest, I'm going to discard it to be able to gain a different resource on one of the rune tiles.
They're not wilds like I learned.
They're not wilds, but they are a resource.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. Gold is wild.
But I mean, not having dead cards in your hand is huge because you may draw them at a point, or you may even actually just go farm them on purpose, and then you can use them to fuel your resources around the board.
Yeah. One of the exciting, Luke is still, we're actively testing new things, and he was a big Magic player and a big drafter, so he's like, oh, we're gonna draft Magic cards now. I'm like, that sounds exciting. So I'll probably see that somewhere. On
I would like that.
Where you're just like, I'm gonna draft a lightning bolt, and I know I need this recruit spell.
You just especially with. Like I get to check my board, right?
Your strategy,
Okay, here's my strategy. Now let's draft. I'm like, oh, this one would help. It kind of gives you a little bit of the blood rage. Like, I'm going to build out my strategy a little bit, but it would still be light in this. That these didn't drive the game for me at all with the current strategy that I have here. That doesn't mean that it wouldn't.
There's a couple times where you can plug an engine that produces cards. I've seen.
Yeah, I had a token.
That would take that.
I had a treasure token that I could have placed here. So every time I'm regrouping, I'm getting a card, which not only is strong. I mean, I had some cards that let me get new workers, or there's like your spell slinging and things like that. So I really.
It also just keeps you from I had the majority of mine requests.
Yeah.
Out of the gate, just an unlucky RNG. Whereas if we're having to draft those, I know I'm not going to keep full quests.
Yeah, you would.
Right.
Yeah,
But the quests are helpful too because it could help you if for the players who don't, they're like, oh, I'm so lost, I don't know what to do. Well,
They
a
need
quest
a
in your
little bit of
hand
direction.
gives you a little bit of direction. Go complete this quest, get some victory points, and then start the ball rolling.
So I should point out that the quests we're trying those out. So you guys are some of the first to see them because there's another stretch
Thumbs
goal.
up for me.
What we're trying to do is make sure that there's not just end game points and instants, right? So that was just an idea that we had to do that and give some more interactivity to why would you go against a monster by yourself with one worker? Well, I got this quest that says if I can pull this off, it's gonna be awesome.
The tavern
Rise of the Hero,
full of tales.
It reminds me of one thing we were talking about at lunch that I thought it was really nice about the game was when you look at it on the table, and I think everybody can kind of see the angle of there's a lot of stuff here, right? There's a lot of icons, there's a lot of little giblets everywhere, but once you get into the game, I'm talking after round 1, which only takes 5 minutes. Sometimes I have to play a whole game before I'm like, okay, I got an idea of what I want to do. So now let's play again because I really had no idea. This one, round 1, I was like, okay, I know I need to go here, I need to do this thing, and I want this thing. And I thought it really congealed very quickly. For me, I consider myself a 5th grade education board gamer. I'm not sophisticated. I usually latch on to whatever low-hanging fruit strategy is there. And like I said, I had the thing where I was going out to twice, and then I was coming back, and I was just I'm just going to keep doing my gems. Y'all stay over there on that side.
And I love at the beginning of the game, you cannot initiate
conflict, no
combat, whatever, until everyone has pulled back their troops. And it's going out for the second time.
I love what you said too. It felt like scouting.
It's like scouting. You're sending people out to kind of get a feel for the land, see what's around. You bring them back, and then you can go out and be ready to fight. So on that second round, because you have 3 workers, everyone starts with 3. So you're going to go at least 4 rounds with no combat. Yeah. So you don't have a chance, I can't go out and then the next time Derek be like, okay, I'm going to fight you and I'm going to get rid of this guy and you're not going to be able to do anything for 2 rounds. And it's just
I think the thing that inspired that is 5-player. Because 5-player, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely you want a crowded map, but that's the most intense it's ever gonna get. Yeah. And we wanted to make sure that even in 5-player there wasn't someone I just started and Lizzy's coming in
Oh, so you don't want people to do like they do in Scythe and they get that super fast the black faction where they get the extra.
I've been crushed by that so many times.
Hate it, Jamie. I hate it.
I'm the yellow faction, and I'm cowering would that one faction let me out the door?
Yeah, and on what James was talking about, we did have these player aids, which are awesome. I'm a huge proponent of player aids because it's helpful if you forget something. But I only glanced at this maybe twice the entire game. Once I had it, I was like, okay. Yeah. And really, it was just to see what can I do for free. What are my free actions? Because I knew. Yeah, I was like, okay. Oh, I can do that. Cool.
Because you're cheap.
Guess I'm cheap. No, I just wanted to know.
We like some easy convert actions and stuff like that. So that you have
right, and then it does go over scoring.
Yeah. Nice. Well, there's a lot of scoring. There's scoring in game. There's scoring at the end, and definitely one of the things that happens as people play. I'm sure this would happen to you guys on your next play is that you see something like what happens with James. Buy a bunch of cards. You're like, oh, there's a lot of meat there.
Yes.
There's the engine building, but like I've said in the earlier video we were shooting, it's a little bit like Concordia. That's one of Luke's favorite games. I like it as well. I've played it. I've played it not enough. But there's this multiplier factor of what you focus in is what you get paid off.
Sure. Sure.
And it's really fun to see that light bulb go on where people are like, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. It's kind of like in Magic, you would maybe focus on 2 colors. When I'm digging in, I'm like, well, I've got my starter color. I could go that way if the tiles are right. If the tiles are not right, I actually kind of look around and go, no one's in fire, so I might try and go into a color that pivot into a color where I'm not going to compete.
Right.
And I'm looking at my color and a color that I won't compete with, and then maybe spilling out and going, well, actually, I gotta stop Derek, and I gotta get there.
Yeah, and if I were to play this again too, like you're talking about the competing for the tiles, because once somebody takes it for their dwelling, it's gone, and that moves you up on the track for that power. Yeah. So Lizzy and I were fighting over fire. I had plenty of opportunity to dive into the cleric, the light, and I could have gone into order as well. So I feel like that could have helped my strategy scoring more points, so I wasn't directly competing with Lizzy. But at the same time, I think it was helpful because it was also taking away from her. So there's a balance there of what you're trying to do.
Peter, what are the pledge levels going to be like?
Well, we're still working out the exact pledge levels. I've heard a lot of people say that they want of course, the way I've envisioned this in the first place is with the minis in it, the whole deluxe tier, possibly getting the metal coins in there if we can, and then that's my blinged out tier. We'll offer that as affordable as we can, but I've had a lot of people say, can I get the same thing without the minis, which is an interesting thing. And to be honest with you, I looked at Tidal Blades at that point. I was like, wait a minute, there were always minis in that. And I actually went back and saw that, oh no, you had a standee tier. So if that's what people want to see, then we're going to price that out right now and see if we can get so that, because I don't want anyone to feel like, oh, I can't get this game.
Sure.
But I will say this is a gourmet. This is sort of it's got all the things in it, and for good reason. We have 8 elements. Originally, when I was first working with Luke, he said, you can't have 8 elements. You can't do that in a worker placement game. And then he was like, but he did do it, or did figure out how to get 8 elements in a worker placement game. But that means there's a lot of bits.
And there's there's a lot of bits. Yeah, this is going to be a high component game. So
I mean, each player tray is coming with 27 pieces in your color out of the gate. And then you've got all of the resources and dwellings and
all the tiles. I mean, the dice. I mean,
there's everyone has their own set of dice in their color, so that's not cheap. But I don't want everyone to reach for the dice that just don't feel like that.
The communal pool.
I just was like, you're playing chaos. I want the sparkly purple chaos dice that are just like, let me cast these things. People can get attached to that or not.
Right.
I'm talking to a couple of partners we can't necessarily announce yet, but if we can get some extravagant versions of dice trays or things or whatever, you could decide to bling it out further. Because I might, because I want all the stuff. But I'm going to set that in a way that people can decide what they want to get in.
Sure. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and just not getting too businessy, but that's something you have to do to have a kind of a retail version and a deluxe version. Yeah. Because, there's certain price points that just don't work well in retail. And, so that makes sense if you want to have the standees. And I think, obviously, it wouldn't affect the gameplay.
No,
it's just whether
you got cool art for the illustration started first. So
the illustrations on these are gorgeous. I mean, even looking at the box art, the cover art. I mean, to be honest with you, having a full art standee would look just as gorgeous as having a miniature. Sure. So
thanks. We got really lucky. We went to a different illustrator for each element. So that's what it's jazzing me up, because maybe they won't match exactly. Like, so let's say you've got like we have Sam Turner who's doing the fire, and Sam was like, that's the element I want, and he was very passionate about it. He did a great demon and a great the stretch monster is a volcanic terror. So fantastic. That thing is a mountain. It's lava pouring out of it. That's like he nailed it. Now, if that doesn't look exactly like Irina is doing these she just said right out of the gate, I was like, which faction do you want? She's like, darkness. That's what I do. That's all. If you look at my art station thing, it's just darkness, darkness, darkness. If you don't give me darkness, I'm not happy. So I gave her darkness, and it's like, now they don't have to match exactly, as long as she stays true to hers.
So right now you have the Death Reaper that's going to come in the game. This is the stretch goal, right? The Haunting Phantom.
Yeah.
So is that going to get a mini as well?
So yes. I don't have those minis out right now.
Right.
So
but if you hit,
there would be
16.
There would be 16 plus the bonus ones that I. So here's one of the minis that I can tell you about right now, which is that we're doing this puzzle thing online, where if you play, because I really want to talk about the 8 elements and share what we're doing.
Sure.
So we came up with this fun idea that we're gonna, as we get to the Kickstarter, each week another element, another story will unlock, which I got a lot of inspiration for how you guys run your campaigns. And out of that story, if you can solve the overall puzzle that's in that story, that's an exclusive miniature for everyone who solves that story. Yeah. And if you don't want to solve that story, if you're like, oh my god, I don't want to do all that work, we're gonna have that miniature available on the campaign, so you can say, forget solving the puzzle. I just want to get the miniature. We're not going to exclude anybody feeling like, oh my god, I don't know how to solve puzzles. But if you can solve the puzzle, you can just get right in there, and that. We've just sort of announced recently that's going to be a Minotaur, and it's not going to be a monster. It's going to be a mercenary that behaves a little differently. So you can go ahead and hire that mercenary. That's what if you unlock that.
I like it.
So that's we're having sounds
like
yes,
puzzles.
8 minis plus another 8 plus some other ones maybe.
Okay.
So, I mean, you know what? There's always a lot of fun on Kickstarter, isn't there?
Absolutely.
I love
So you're gonna have
minis.
to keep an eye on this campaign and see where it goes.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, I'm not easy. I mean, I'm pretty easy to sell, so I'm sold. So I don't know if you take that with your grain of salt, however you want to do it. But
no, I mean,
we'll take it one at a time.
I'm right with James. This to me, I've seen other people playing it in different places and gushing about it, and I am all over this. As a person that loves hybrid Euro and Amerithrash games, I love the combination of setting my Euro style worker placement, engine building, tableau building, but then just a little bit amount of confrontation and dice chucking really keeps it interesting. Because you don't know, if I go into a fight with my dragon, I'm rolling 3 dice, I have some swords available, maybe I help my probability and statistics of rolling more dice just to make sure I don't lose. Or you could be like, nah, I don't feel like spending those. I'm going in with 3 dice, and whatever happens, happens.
So it could all just come down to 1, and you could have just done it with the 3, and then you feel like you wasted.
I mean,
the time
first
to pay,
turn,
and
second
it's
turn, I went and fought the golem.
You did
with
take
one die.
With
and I
one
rolled a
die.
And he
6.
rolled 4.
I rolled a 6. Get out of here, golem.
There's sometimes where the golem just like stomps around and just destroys you.
Right,
It's very funny to
until
me.
you take care of it, right?
I'm glad you said that about the mixture, because the whole core of the thing when Luke and I were first talking was like, why aren't there any like fantasy Euros? Like
Sure.
Like I love Puerto Rico. I mean, seriously, it's such a good game. But I was like, fantasy Puerto Rico or fantasy this? Like, I want the Gandalf versus the Balrog thing happening. That's what I want.
Yeah. No.
And I was really happy that when we pitched it to Breaking Games, they're really supportive, and Sherry Spiro said, I want you to make the game you want to make. Well, everybody, this is the game I want to make.
There you go.
This is the game we're making.
Labor of love.
It's just, we passionately put it all out there, so you're going to feel all of that fun and crunch, but with spells casting as well.
Yeah, for sure. So where can we find more information about Dwellings of Eldervale?
All right, well, you got a couple places you can go. You can go to dwellingsofeldervale.com, where it's got an email sign up. We'll, of course, tell you more as we're going to launch. That's where you find all the puzzles if you want to go solve the puzzles. And then that also has links to our Facebook group, where we're also doing some backstage, like early sneak peeks at new art or character boards, or we'll put these minis up later, too, so that everyone can see that.
Yeah.
That's where we're going to be spilling it for the next 30 days until we get to Kickstarter.
All right.
And Kickstarter is...
June 19th.
That's right after Origins.
Put it on the calendar.
Go check us out. We were going to be at a couple cons before then.
Yep.
UK Games Expo. We're going to be at Origins. We are going to be Luke's going to be at HaitiCon. And we're going to be at KublaCon this weekend. So if you have a chance to go to all those, great. If not, we're going to stream some more. We're going to show you all the way till we get there. We're really appreciative of the spotlight, showing this thing off.
Well, thank you for having us and letting us play it. We all really enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation to come
You don't
play.
speak for me.
Am I wrong, though?
Until the next time.
But did you die, though?
Did you die?
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching.
Appreciate it.
Bye. There, you're gonna have to go turn it
Yeah,
off.
All right, I
turn
got
it
it.
off. You
We
just
can't sit here and